The American Secretary of State are doing the rounds in Europe to try and drum up support for a unilateral strike against Syria. It's after key world powers at the G20 summit in St. Petersburg spoke out against the use of force without a UN mandate, while Russia accused the Syrian rebels of unleashing chemical weapons to provoke foreign intervention. Anissa Naoaui reports.
I was elected to end wars, not start them.
U.S. military intervention in Syria dominated talks at the G20. But if Obama was looking to gather overwhelming support at the summit, he didn't get it in St. Petersburg.
There is no military solution.
There is no military solution.
We will not participate in military action.
Aside from France, Turkey and Saudi Arabia, few countries expressed outright support for Obama's proposal of a military strike. In a joint statement, they condemned the use of chemical weapons, blaming the Assad government, and called for some kind of response, but they stopped short of backing a U.S. attack on Syria. Summit host President Putin accused the rebels of being behind a chemical weapons attack near Damascus in August that he says was carried out to discredit Syrian authorities in the eyes of the West.
I view everything that happened with the so-called use of chemical weapons in Syria as a provocation by the rebels who count on help from abroad, from those countries that originally supported them. That's the reason for this provocation. I also want to remind you that the use of force against a sovereign state is acceptable only if it's done for self-defense, and we know that Syria hasn't attacked the US, and only if the UN Security Council approves such action. As one of the participants of our discussions on the issue put it yesterday, those who do otherwise put themselves above the law.
Obama continues to insist Assad was behind the attack, and he won't wait for the UN to respond.
The Assad's regime's brazen use of chemical weapons isn't just a Syrian tragedy. It's a threat to global peace and security.
The U.S. president is due to address the American public on Tuesday and try to make his best argument for an attack on Syria, one that failed to convince global partners at the G20. This summit could have been a last chance for a political solution to the Syria crisis, or at least an attempt to push forward with diplomacy. But leaders parted St. Petersburg split solidly on those for or against military intervention in the Syrian war, what has been called the worst humanitarian crisis in modern history. Reporting from the G20, Anissa Naoaui, RT.